You know what I'm about to do.
What?
Birds in your mouth. Birds in your mouth. Looking like a fool with that bird in your mouth.
Oh, the mic's picking you up really good.
Always singing loud.
Yeah. Welcome to Movies I Watched in Film School. I'm Brianna.
I'm Allie.
Kyle's here.
And we have Jake here for the first time.
Hi, I'm Jake.
Special guest star, Jake.
I'm honored to be here.
Cue the 90s sitcom music.
Birds in your mouth.
Wait. Start doing it as I go.
Birds in your mouth. Birds in your mouth. Looking like a fool with that bird in your mouth.
Hope y'all like that, because it's going to come up a lot today.
I'm sure it is. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop that one.
I don't think we made it apparent. This week's film was Alfred Hitchcock's The Burbs, starring Tippi Hedren.
You're aware that you said the burbs,
I am,
right?
the
Burbs.
I got nervous.
The suburbs.
I feel like when I talk about birds, I default to burbs because they're my topmost predator. So I'm just like, bird.
Yep. So,
You're not listening. We're not watching the Tom Hanks movie, The Burbs.
We're not. We watched The Birds.
for those of you listening at home, it is Brianna's most irrational fear.
My top 5.
Yeah. Well, no. Brandon's most irrational feel
God.
is Megalodon. But I would say after this movie, birds feel more rational.
You did see a cardinal during the movie while we were watching the movie and just like oh.
Oh yeah, I'm next to the window and I saw a bird land on my neighbor's roof while we were watching this movie and felt very aware of it.
They're coming for you.
Oh God.
Anyway,
Stop it, you're ignorant.
okay, so The Birds, directed by Alfred Hitchcock,
Yes.
starring
Starring Tippi Hedren and some guy from Mr. 50s. Who cares? So what were all of our initial thoughts of The Birds?
His name is Rod Taylor.
Oh.
I'm sure it is.
I like The Birds.
Yeah.
I do too.
It had been a while since I had seen it. It was definitely a lot of fun.
I had to watch this for my Alfred Hitchcock class. This wasn't one of the 60s ones. This was for the Hitch class specifically. And this was the one where I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to relive this. Please. When given the opportunity to write about the birds, I didn't. But I don't know. I really like the suspense in this. But I think that's something I like in all Hitchcock movies is just the slow burn to like peak suspense and then just like really good payoff.
Yeah.
Fair. I was going to say, I'm going to be honest, it's one of those movies that I see what they're going for, and it's a good movie, but I just can't take it even the slightest bit seriously. I'm sorry, just birds. Like, there's so many times where it's like, just don't go out.
Well, the birds come in. The
They
birds
did come
ate
in.
through.
They
They ate
definitely
through a
come in.
roof.
They didn't.
They set a
They're
car on
motivated birds.
fire.
They committed tax fraud.
But there were plenty of bits where it's like, especially like when the guy was like, the bird war.
Yeah.
Oh,
End
God.
of days.
End of days.
And that just made me think of like some old guy sitting his kids down and just being like, well, let me tell you about the bird war.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
that
caught a man on fire.
the bird war guy was also like sitting in a diner drinking at like 12:30 on a Monday, screaming about Bible verses. So
Well, he
like,
was Irish, so...
Well, that
okay, are you pro-Irish or anti-Irish?
No, he had an Irish accent. They were doing a stereotype.
fair.
Is the birds anti-Irish propaganda?
No, just that one guy. No,
Anti-bird propaganda.
no. This
Yes.
time it was skewed pro-Irish propaganda because he was correct.
Fair.
It is the end of times.
They just presented him as a stereotype.
So something we noticed pretty early in was, hello cat.
The cat is approaching the mic.
Yeah, it's very cute.
You can get some weird ASMR here.
Better purr.
Just some
Come on.
sniffing ASMR.
is that this whole movie happens because of a bit.
Yeah.
This Tippi Hedren just goes real hard into a bit.
Yeah, no.
And that's why this movie happens.
Yeah, because Tippi Hedren just has to be Queen Petty.
Yeah.
Do we want to like do like a plot breakdown or something?
Sure.
We should.
We should do a plot breakdown.
Tippi Hedren meets a fellow in a
bird shop.
in a bird store that pulls a goof on her, and she decides, as a goof, she's going to buy 2 birds and hunt him to the ends of the earth to give the birds to a family member of his. The first third or so is this whole weird little pursuit where she's like talking to strangers in town, matching his license plate to his registration, just casually talking to people about like, hey, his little sister goes to school in this town. What's her name? Like,
and she gets all the details.
Yeah. Oh,
also, it didn't hit me until just now. She finds out his registration because her dad runs a newspaper.
Yeah.
They track him down for her because.
Yeah.
No questions asked, just, sure, why not?
God.
So it's like, Melanie, you're up to one of your schemes. One of your japes.
What did this fellow do to you? This is gonna be like the flower shop all over again.
but yeah, no, the thing that got me though, still, and I'm still thinking about it, is she rented a dinghy to get across a lake to get to this guy's house because she didn't want to come up the main road because he would know that she's coming. No, she sneaks up to the dock behind his house, cuts the engine when she's almost there so no one hears her coming, and just rows the rest of the way.
Yeah, the thing about that for me was the conversation was, where does he live? And then the guy at the store points to the guy's house. It's on the other side of the lake. And she's like, well, how do I get there? Well, there's only one road, and it goes up to their front door, so you can just take that. And he's like, oh, she goes, oh, no, I don't want to go up to their front door. It's our back road. He's like, no, it's a lake. You could rent a dinghy, like, jokingly. And she goes, oh, where would I rent a dinghy? Like, and the guy's just like, yeah, this is normal.
Sure.
Mind you, the whole time, she has a cage of lovebirds, a fur coat, and like driving gloves.
Yeah,
on.
yeah, she's rowing across like it's a motorboat dinghy, and so she's got the motor going. She's like driving it, and she's fully like mink coat, silk scarf, driving gloves,
High heel shoes.
high heels shoes, just kind of like across the lake.
Yup. God damn. It's a trip. This movie's a trip.
Yeah.
But like, it starts as a woman it's like weird rom-com tropes, and then it becomes Bird Attack Island.
Yeah.
Well, and we didn't even mention, when she gets to his house, she's coming up in the dinghy. She waits until she sees his mother and his little sister leave, and then he walks into the barn, and then she walks up with the birds in hand, walks into his house, puts it in, and puts the bird cage in his living room with a little note that says, to Kathy, to the sister, not the guy, to his 11-year-old sister, and then walks back out, gets in the boat, and starts driving away. And, like, that's terrifying.
No, you know who Tippi Hedren is? She's Mark Wahlberg in Fear. That's
Yeah,
who she
yeah.
is.
Oh God.
Like,
Yeah, and then the guy comes, like, you watch her watching him come out of the barn, walks into the house, and he goes in, like, basically walks in and then runs back out, like, looking around for her.
yeah, she's gotten a ways away, but she wants to stay close enough to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, not just that, but also the whole reason why she brought the 2 birds was because his ploy when he stopped at the bird shop was saying he was there to buy 2 birds, even though he knew, A, she wasn't an employee, and B, he was never intending to buy the birds.
Okay, he did say he was intending to buy the birds for his sister for her birthday. But then he
Kinda
saw
just
her and
didn't.
kind of was just like, yeah, no, I see a better opportunity here.
Yeah. The entire reason Tippi is here is comeuppance.
Yeah. And then, like, her bit in the bird store is just, like, pretending to work there and answering questions about birds with bullshit, and then eventually letting a canary out of its cage. That's it. That was the bit. That was a joke.
And then they zoom in on her, they do a tight close-up on her eyes, and the Kill Bill music starts playing. Because
Just dead. She's just dead inside. Like,
no one bests Tippi Hedren.
Yeah, because there was like a throwaway line where he had seen her before.
Like in court.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a lawyer.
Yeah. And she was probably on charges for doing something insane.
Well, he's straight up said it was for another one of her bits.
Yeah, probably criminal trespassing.
The flower
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
wasn't it jumping into a fountain in Rome or
Oh
something?
no,
That was what she was in the newspaper for.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, that was what they kept bringing up because his mother was like, I don't like you sneaking around with that harlot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was naked in the Vatican.
She has a tendency to jump naked in fountains.
And also,
We all do stupid things in our 20s.
another thing that the movie never addresses that is uncomfortable is that, like, if this was a rom-com, the, like, main tension would be that Mitch, the guy, his mother doesn't want him to have a girlfriend because her husband died and he's kind of her replacement husband. Even though the movie, like, straight up says this, it also keeps arguing that it's not Oedipal, which, that's not how that works. Like, no, it's not that she wants to fuck her son. It's that, sorry, you're gonna have to bleep that one out.
That's okay.
It's not that she wants to marry her son because her husband's dead. It's just that she doesn't want to be alone anymore. And I'm like, I don't think that doesn't
solve the problem.
But no one, even though several characters in the movie bring this up, no one mentions that Melanie Tippi Hedren's character looks exactly like his mom.
Exactly.
Like they could be like sisters. Like not even mother-daughter, sisters.
Oh, yeah. Hairstyle was identical, everything.
Yeah. Like same face, same
Yeah.
makeup. It was nuts.
They
like,
even kind of talked the same too.
Yeah.
Like the cadence of their voices was very similar.
yeah.
Just like high society island woman. Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
if that was an intentional choice.
Alfred Hitchcock's a big weirdo. So
He
I'm gonna say
is
yes.
a big weirdo.
So probably.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
also, like, because of this movie, he also got, like, unhealthily obsessed with Tippi Hedren for a while.
Yeah.
Like, that,
Just basically fucked up her whole life.
yeah, that was the subject. What was the name of that movie that they made about Alfred Hitchcock? It wasn't Hitchcock, I think it was called The Woman or something.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was just about his fixation on Tippi
Yeah,
Hedren.
because the Hitchcock movie with Anthony Hopkins was about the making of Psycho.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that they did one about his fixation with Tippi. Yeah. It's so gross. The whole
Yeah.
thing is gross. Just like I put part of that in my paper for this class. Just like, because I think my topic, if I remember, I wrote it like 2 months ago and I already forgot it, was about Alfred Hitchcock's fixation on secrets, or like the wronged man concept, because a lot of his characters are like people who are pinned for crimes that they did not commit. Like Strangers on a Train, that's like the whole thing in Strangers on a Train, To Catch a Thief. And like I was like, and there's also slides evidence across counter. This
a lot of evidence of Alfred Hitchcock doing some things that he was probably not held accountable for.
no.
A problematic gentleman,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the synopsis.
Yes.
We didn't cover this part.
Yeah.
Also, for no actual explained reason, birds start attacking people. It starts off small, and then it goes to 11 pretty quick, which is swarms of them attacking school children.
Yeah.
It's mostly kids.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the movie is trying to do the like rom-com plot that it's sort of like set out on and is interrupted by bird attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I kind of like I wish this wasn't such a culturally spoiled movie, cuz like if you could get someone to go in completely blind, it would just seem like a rom-com about like the birds. She brings him lovebirds and that's how they meet.
Yeah.
You know, like they're the lovebirds, and instead it just slowly like devolves into a horror movie where birds are attacking people.
I think, yeah, you said that before about a lot of Hitchcock's movies. Like, I remember, like, we talked about this when we talked about Psycho. You said that during, when you watched To Catch a Thief with me for my Hitchcock class, about how, he makes very involved rom-coms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think the only one that doesn't really fit that formula is Psycho, but most of his movies are, like, they're thrillers for the 50s, but if someone was making them today, they would just be very, like, they'd just be weird rom-coms.
The thing is, Psycho still has the note for it, like, the notes for it, because, like, she steals money and goes on the run to be with her fiancé, meets a charming fellow at a motel.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like a rom-com plot that gets interrupted by one of the characters doing a murder.
Yeah.
Like,
don't do a murder.
Yeah.
Don't do a murder.
The whole fact that it seems like a rom-com for the first, like, good chunk of the movie, like, I feel like that kind of theming with a lot of his other movies is, was originally supposed to be, like, intentional subversion. Like,
Makes sense.
I'm not sure if, like, it was probably slightly more effective when they were first coming out.
Yeah.
But now they're significantly more spoiled.
Well, at this point, like, there's like a cultural thing where if you have a trope and then you subvert it, the subversion over time will become the new trope.
Yeah.
Like the scary clown thing. Yeah. Like the clowns were like not scary for most of the time. And then someone, I think it was probably Stephen King's It, was just like, yeah, we'll make this clown scary. And then that was so effective that now if you see a clown in a movie, it is probably a scary clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will not be, there will be no divergence from that.
Yeah, so now that is the new trope and probably will be for the next couple years until someone goes, hey, let's subvert the scary clown thing by making it a funny clown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The clown is the hero.
Yeah.
I've been pushing that narrative for years. But
actually, there is kind of a subversion. I just didn't really catch on it. It's in We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. I'm not going to talk about We're Back, a Dinosaur Story because we're talking about the birds, and it would be a very weird digression, and I'm very sorry.
Oh, I would love this. Just the birds featuring We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
What is my contribution to this episode? Singing Birds in Your Mouth and talking about We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
So y'all want to talk about subversion? You thought we were going to talk about the birds.
Joke's on you. We're going to talk about a movie we didn't watch this week.
So John Goodman plays the T-Rex.
No, it's fine. Okay, but the clown is intentionally a very normal clown working at an evil carnival, and his whole thing is that he just wants to make people laugh, but he's at a carnival where he's supposed to be scary, and I love it so much. Anyway, we're going on. Back to the story.
Side note, we didn't go too far from where we were at because birds are just evolved dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So it's all the same.
Yeah.
There
what if finds a way?
In We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, the framing device is that John Goodman, the dinosaur, is playing golf and finds a teenage bird who is running away from home and decides to tell him the story of the time that he ran away from home by meeting some kids in New York.
We are actually doing this.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not. This is beautiful.
That's why I brought it back.
I'm so sorry.
I love it here.
I started this and I can't finish.
Really?
We need to change the title of the episode to A Lesson in Subversion. Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Yes! Why don't they teach this in film school? I want a class that's all nonsense. I want it to be like, alright, like a professor walks in and he doesn't even like put his stuff in. He just throws it on the ground. He's like loosening his tie. He has like 3 cigarettes. And he's like, alright, we're gonna talk about Hitchcock, but not in the way you think.
Okay, so
The first lesson, you gotta watch Whip Back, a Dinosaur Story. We're doing that right now.
Okay,
No
so-
syllabus. Nothing.
okay, so what?
He
so,
sets the syllabus on fire with a cigarette.
So what y'all want is Robin Williams and Dead Poets Society.
Yes!
Except it's Chris Farley.
Yes!
That's what
Yes!
you want.
Kyle, that's all
Making
I
me
want.
watch 90s kids movies that no one cares
Oh my
about.
God,
Just screaming about
I'm not
it.
gonna even joke. That's the professor I want to be. I want to like submit a syllabus for like a horror class, and they're like, "Wow, you got some good titles in there." And then they just like, "Wait, why does this peel off? Why does this say Birdemic? What is this?" Like,
Yeah, it's just tough luck sucker. I'm still the professor.
you approved it, Marjorie.
You thought I was teaching film 201, but I'm teaching film 1517, the topology of truth.
Yes!
What? I have your signature.
What ghost possessed me?
My favorite.
So, at one point in the dinghy, Tippy Hedren gets...
The birds!
Tippy Hedren gets, like, buzzed by a seagull, but then nothing weird happens again for, like, another 25 minutes.
Until a child's birthday party.
Yeah, until a bunch of seagulls maul children at a child's birthday party.
Was the birthday party before or after the birds out of the fireplace scene?
Oh, shit. Which one?
I don't remember.
I think it was birthday party, then sparrows in the fireplace.
Yeah, the sparrows were that night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, featuring the most helpful cop ever. Yeah, those are sparrows.
Yeah. No,
Them's birds, all right.
we can't do the scene justice by describing it,
No.
but it's like a fire hose of sparrows come shooting out of the fireplace.
It's like they're all sitting there, and then all of a sudden, just Harry Potter letters worth of fucking birds coming.
Yeah, just they're all alive and attacking.
Very angry birds just coming in.
Yeah, and from there, the bird attacks are the only things that people want to talk about in town.
Yeah.
They get
I mean, naturally, as you do.
I think my favorite part is that she's so she got attacked by birds at the school, which actually has, I think, probably my favorite shot in the movie, where Tippy's like sitting on a bench outside the playground, and there's like a play structure that's like one of those like wire one jungle gym things.
Jungle gyms, yeah.
And it's completely empty, but it like keeps going back to Melanie, and she's like lighting a cigarette, she's kind of like looking around, like waiting for Kathy to get out of a lesson,
Thinking about what she's got to get from the grocery store.
Yeah, and it keeps kind of going back over her shoulder, and every time it does, it's never like it's the kind of shot that if they filmed it today, there would be a stinger on it, and they never use like the stinger music, which I really, really like, but every time they kind of show it again, there's more birds on it, until finally, Melanie, she's looking up, and she notices a bird flying overhead, and she kind of follows it, and she turns around and follows it to sitting on the jungle gym, which is now completely covered. Like, there's like hundreds of birds sitting on this thing. And she just kind of freaks out and just walks right back into the schoolhouse. Like,
yeah. Also, the only soundtrack to that sequence is you can faintly hear the kids inside singing something from their lesson.
Yeah.
This weird nonsense song that they're singing.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a vocal warm-up.
Yeah.
But yeah, and anyway, so after this happens, like she just walks back into the schoolhouse. She's like, we have to get the kids out of here. And there's kind of an implication that the birds knew that the kids were about to go on recess. So they were like waiting because and the school teacher, she goes to like open the door to let them onto the playground, and Tippy's just Melanie. I always want to call her Tippy Hedren. Like, I don't care that her name's Melanie.
That's because Tippy Hedren's such a name.
It really genuinely is. But anyway, so she's like, nope, close that door. We gotta go. We're not going out there. And they get attacked by birds.
Miss Hayworth, my dear, do not go outside yet.
Yeah, the kids are running down the street in a death march, just getting swarmed by crows.
Anyway, this happens, and she goes to the local diner to, like, call her dad at the newspaper to try to, like, get the word out that this is happening. And, just happens to run into the only local ornithologist who's like, that's not possible.
It reminded me of the fucking psychiatrist from Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like explaining birds couldn't possibly, like, okay.
Yeah,
but ma'am, they did. Ma'am, they have.
This is like a tiny town in the like middle of nowhere in like Northern California. Why on earth do you have a local ornithologist? Like,
who doesn't know how to light a cigarette?
No, she tries like 3 times.
She just walks up and she's just like, let me tell you about birds.
Yeah.
You need to know about birds.
Hey, listen here, you dumb bitch. There's a difference between crows and blackbirds. And the only real difference she lists are, like, their Latin names.
Yeah, she's like, they're very different birds. We call them different things.
I will give you no more information.
Yeah.
But ma'am, how are they different? Their names!
Yeah.
God. Yeah, and immediately after, because everyone in the diner is yelling about the bird attacks and their own theories on it, And then it just goes completely bananas because the birds knock over a gas station attendant, and it's just gushing fuel. And there's a fellow that was in the diner pounding scotch, getting ready to drive away.
Yeah. And he goes to light a cigar while he's getting into his car because he's having an afternoon, I guess.
Yeah.
He just got fired.
And like they're yelling at him, no, don't light the cigar because the gasoline is like right under his car. And he just like, I think he's just trying to throw the match away, but he just throws it straight down in the gas.
Yeah.
And he just ignites.
Yeah, he blows up, his car blows up, and then it like follows the gas leak back to the gas station and just like
just blows the gas station to hell. The fire department shows up. The birds kick the hell out of them. There's a random horse and buggy unattended running through the town.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the cabbage guy from Avatar.
Because it spilled cabbages over.
Yeah.
God. So, and then, like, the Tippi Hedren is just hiding in a phone booth. It's one of the most famous. It's one of the top 3 most famous scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
She's just hiding in a phone booth. People are trying to, like, get in and get help, and she's like, no, get out.
One guy, but he was, I think, kind of already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had birds on him. It was game over at
Birds
that
on
point.
him.
The phone booth thing reminded me of like 2 things. It reminded me of the 80s Blob. The phone booth scene from the 80s Blob.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah! I loved that scene. And then it reminded me of, there was this photo shoot years ago now, where a bunch of famous people were just like picked up to recreate famous Hitchcock scenes, and the one for for photos, and the one for the birds was Jodie Foster in the phone booth pretending to be Tippi Hedren.
That's neat, but I was
that.
thinking about Anchorman.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Yeah. And birds.
So many birds.
There was also a point where Tippi Hedren was being attacked by birds, and she wouldn't scream, even though there was other people nearby that could have helped her. And yeah, and it was just like, she's worried about getting birds in her mouth. And that's when I started singing the Birds in Your Mouth song.
Yeah. And then Brianna almost threw up.
Yeah. Brianna is very afraid of birds.
It is completely irrational. I understand this.
Now that scene, it's probably the second most famous outside of like the birds on the jungle gym, where Tippy's refusing to scream despite the fact that she's covered in birds.
Yeah. She doesn't want to get a bird in her mouth.
That is the scene where Alfred Hitchcock just tied live birds to Tippi Hedren.
What?
Yes.
No!
Okay, so initially they tried it with puppets. Like, they just tried, like, putting fake birds on her, tried it with puppets, but this doesn't look right. So he tied a bunch of birds to her and just riled them up. So a lot of the, like, attacks on her, very legitimate. Because she has a bunch of pissed off birds tied to her.
Jesus!
There's like a bit where like the kids are like running and it'll like focus on an individual child and then like a bird will like appear in the screen and start like poking at him. And I always imagined that it's like actually Alfred Hitchcock with like a fake bird on a stick,
just
like
scream,
scream,
like yeah, the kid's running, so Alfred Hitchcock's just getting like pulled in a cart in front of him just off screen.
He's being driven around in a golf cart, bothering children with dead birds. It's taxidermy.
Who's driving the cart? Who's driving it?
Anthony
Perkins.
Anthony Perkins!
I almost said Anthony Hopkins. I was like, that's not right. No, Anthony Perkins. He showed up that day.
Yeah, he was bored.
He wanted to come see the new movie that Alfred Hitchcock was working on. Do you want to give me a hand with something? I think you'll get a kick out of it.
By Jove, I think I would.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then he'd love it.
Yeah. And now in my head, Anthony Perkins is driving the golf cart dressed like the Hamburglar. Because it always comes back to the goddamn Hamburglar with me.
I mean, at least you're not talking about where back in dinosaur story.
Yeah, what happened with that? They got, like, abducted by aliens or something?
So, okay, what is his name? He's Professor, no, okay, so I remember the bad guy's name is Professor Screw Eyes. So I think the good guy's name is Professor New Eyes, because they rhyme. And they're brothers. They have different last names. Anyway, so Professor New Eyes invents a weird science time travel dirigible. Goes back in the past to steal some dinosaurs. And then he gives them brain cereal that makes them smart enough to talk.
I need that for college.
Would be awesome.
And then he deposits them in 90s New York so that they can go meet a friend of his at the Museum of Natural History so they can be part of the dinosaur exhibit.
Are you losing it because you're describing this plot and you're just realizing how insane the plot of this movie is?
Yeah!
It's a wild one. I remember watching it as a kid.
I really like that movie. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
Please don't be sorry. This is the best episode.
Oh, God.
So what was your favorite bird attack scene?
Probably. Okay, no, I have a specific person attack. That's my favorite. It's when the kids it's when the birds attack the birthday party. And, the kids are all running in terror away from the seagulls and whatnot. And there's a shot of one little girl just laying face down on the ground. And a seagull is sitting on her back, just pecking her in the back of the head.
And she's just crying on the ground like she didn't get her way at the birthday party.
Yeah, and
Real quick to surrender.
This is the only bird on her and around her. She has a chance.
My favorite is when Professor Screw Eyes gets his eyes pecked out by crows.
I see.
Anyway.
I see.
He doesn't.
I think my favorite's just the funneling of the sparrows.
Yes.
just like, wow, what's that sound? Why is there a bird in here? Whoosh!
Mine's the imaginary scene immediately after where they move the painting and there's just a beehive of birds.
Oh yes, this
the
thing,
hive of birds.
this thing that you made up to haunt me.
It was just the funniest thing.
I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night like, bird hive, bird hive, bird hive. It's gonna be my rosebud.
The ramblings of a madman.
They could be behind any painting.
I hate it here.
It was their final request. We have to bury them with a bird in their mouth.
Birds in your mouth. Birds in your mouth. Looking like a fool with a bird in your
Just
mouth.
being played while the casket is being lowered into the ground.
You know,
We got the same guy. We flew him out.
yes! I want this potential American Idol contestant to do this at my funeral. Please don't put a bird in my mouth.
We'll see.
Kyle, please.
I mean, you've eaten chicken before.
Yeah. You've had plenty of birds in your mouth.
Fair point.
We got Popeyes on Friday. I've seen you eat chicken.
Yeah. You've had full birds in your mouth.
Uh-huh.
Looking like a fool over here.
With a bird in your mouth.
I wish I was dead.
Can you title this one, We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, a discussion of Alfred Hitchcock's The Bird?
I am. It's gonna have We're Back in... I'm trying to think of another ridiculous movie to piggyback off the birds.
There are a lot of 90s movies about kids being friends with dinosaurs, so I'm sure you got some... Whoopi Goldberg's in one. I don't remember.
Oh my god, that one where she's a cop?
Yeah,
and
it's
the
a
dinosaur
dinosaur
is a cop?
Oh, yeah!
What's it called? Oh my god.
Oh, and And then there's Full Moon Pictures pre-hysteria.
Yeah, of course he was.
With the tiny little dinosaurs that make friends with kids.
Well,
Yeah.
that just made me think of the other police officer being a dinosaur. Made me think of what was it called? Kung Fury.
Oh God, yeah.
With fucking
Theodore Rex.
Yeah.
Yes.
with Triceracop.
Oh,
Oh my god. It was called Theodore Rex, and it has a 2.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
how much
It
of
cost $33.5 million to make in 1996.
That's a lot of money in 1996.
how much of this is usable, do you think?
We're at 30. We got like 10 minutes to go.
10 minutes of usable footage.
Yeah, that's fine. The last one was like at 30 minutes. I barely had to cut anything except swearing, but it was just me like adjusting for like, all right, I'm laughing too loud and back up. Laughing too loud, back up. Like, Richard Roundtree is in Theodore Rex. I don't care about anything else. Shaft is in Theodore Rex. This is the only thing we're talking about now.
I've
Okay,
never seen
just
Theodore Rex.
Before we start talking about that, The Birds is pretty good. It's worth checking out if you haven't seen it.
I do like the birds.
It is very fun.
I'm so sorry I derailed this conversation.
I'm not.
Sorry, go.
I was just going to say I completely forgot about the fact that it just ends with them driving off with all the birds there
Yeah.
in a cloth top
Yeah.
vehicle.
Oh yeah, no
where they can
resolution.
just come in and end it.
No It's Dawn of the Dead. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no resolution.
I just
Like-
remembered something. I remembered the ending. I think it's either... I'm trying to remember, so correct me. I will correct myself eventually if I'm wrong. Excuse me. It's either the ending of the book or story this is based off of, or the ending Hitchcock wanted. I don't remember which. It is that they were driving and you see a sign that says like San Francisco this many miles, and it's just covered in birds, like implying that this is just spreading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like the ending that he actually wanted.
Well, that was the thing too. Like after the massacre at the gas station, they talked to the bird expert again, or is it before or after? I don't remember. Or no, it's before the massacre at the gas station, because some drunk asshole was just like, "Yeah, no, let's just get guns and shoot all the birds." And she's like, "Do you have any idea how many birds there are?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, count them all. And she's like, there are, at best guess, 5 billion birds living on this continent. He's like, fucking sky rats. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, because that was when she says there are only 5 continents.
yeah. And we got real confused, just like, wait, what continent does she not acknowledge?
She's not probably Antarctica and Australia. That's probably...
I refuse to admit that Australia exists.
Criminals.
They don't get their own nation.
It's a prison colony in my mind.
Oh god.
Might as well be on Mars.
There's not enough birds there for me to give a single care about Australia.
Probably a bunch of weird birds
There's
in
a
Australia.
ton of weird
That's
birds.
what Britain should have done. Just shoot their convicts into space.
If they had the technology,
Send
they
them to
would
Mars.
have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we would have colonized Mars already. Mars would just be Australia.
That'd be kind of dope.
I'm into it actually.
Mars, Australia.
L. Ron Hubbard, if you're listening to this, write that story.
Why would
I was gonna say
Listening.
Elon Musk. Don't get any fucking ideas.
Well, you see,
Elon, don't listen to this.
God, I hope Elon
That
doesn't
just
listen
made
to
me
this.
think of The Expanse, where we just sent a bunch of real smart people to Mars and thought it was a great idea, and then they were just like, hey, we're our own society now.
You don't get to do that. That's when you got to send up all the jocks.
And then they're like, we have better technology. We can space nuke you. And you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta send in the jocks. It's the same reason why you can't have a colony of just bees. You gotta put some wasps in there.
Bees?
Yeah, you gotta pepper in some jocks in with the nerds.
I don't think that's how bees work.
Yeah, it's fine.
Bees, Helen.
I don't think that's how bees work.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me phone a friend.
Boop 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 boop
Hello. Yeah, Gloria, you're on.
Oh my god!
Yes, Kyle, you have a question.
Why would Gloria Swanson know about bees?
I know about bees, bitch. I know about bees.
The sounds of me hitting Kyle with a pillow.
My call dropped.
She's on a plane.
You woke
we don't
up
know
the
how
cat.
she answered.
You woke up the cat with your violence. Because you did a hit, and you chose violence.
Why would Gloria Swanson know about bees?
She keeps bees.
No, she doesn't.
You heard her.
She keeps chips.
You heard her. You can keep both. They're not mutually exclusive.
I don't know.
She
They're
does
both
it.
a lot of work.
Maybe
Sorry.
she does it because she wants to make her own wine.
Yeah.
That's a fucking long step to make mead.
It's why she keeps the chimps.
Well, actually,
To make chimp wine?
Yes.
yes, chimp wine.
What?
What do you make chimp wine out of? What part of the chimp?
Hey.
We'll
What
never
part?
tell.
No. Everybody, I want to hear this answer. What part of the chimp do you make chimp wine from? Go ahead.
Hold
Go
on,
ahead,
Gloria
call her.
Swanson's
Go ahead,
calling
call her. Yeah.
Hey, Gloria? Yes, darling. We're talking about the chimp wine that you made. Ah, yes, the Bobo Grigio.
Yeah, what part of the chimp do you make chimp wine out of?
It's not that complicated, darling. You just have to juice them. You have a
How do you juice a chimp?
You have squish grapes. It's like that. You just keep stepping on them. You make them into a fine paste, and then you distill that.
I don't think that's wine.
Well, it gets you good and messed up. So
I imagine.
I think you're just Elizabeth Bathory now.
I think you can make chimp blood sausage from that. I don't think you can make wine.
do you think God hides in heaven because he too is what he created?
Oh my god.
You're Steve Buscemi now?
The call dropped. She must be going through a tunnel.
On a
Fellas,
plane.
Yeah.
fellas, can we talk about Spy Kids 2?
Apparently we're talking about kids' movies from the 90s,
So I
so...
guess it's just
Kyle's
vampire
Kyle's having a crisis because I mentioned Spy Kids 2.
Just throw the whole episode out.
Honestly, there was a really easy route for you to go. Chimp wine is wine made by chimps, not wine made from chimps.
Okay,
and
but
you
it
missed
isn't.
it. You missed it completely.
Isn't. It's Bobo Grigio. You gotta mash up the chimps.
Yeah, no, you have the
Please
chimps.
God, no.
You have the chimp step on the grapes. It was so easy. I handed it to you.
Well,
You're
that's-
like, nah, chimp paste.
They're an ingredient.
Well, at that point, it's just like using the Oompa Loompas to make chocolate, only a little sadder.
Yeah. Why is it sadder if it's chimps?
Because I don't know, it's just sadder to me.
Oompa Loompas aren't people, I guess.
They're not.
They're not
What?
Oompa
That's why they
Loompas
have
are
worker
not
rights.
people.
And now we're talking about Willy Wonka.
I'm so into this
Y'all remember when we
downward
talked about
spiral.
the birds?
I enjoy that there is. I'm sorry to continue with the string of
You're
Willy
good.
Wonka. I enjoy that there is the theory that he fully planned all of the events that happened. Because, like, for example, there's only so many seats that exactly fits the amount of people that have survived so far on the boat that is going through the tunnel.
Oh yeah, it's
There
a
are
saw
no
trap.
spare seats.
The entire factory is a saw trap.
Yeah, to find his successor. If you can survive the factory, you have won.
Oh,
Oh no,
God.
that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
it's not even like we're not planning on who will survive. He already knew. It is all just showmanship at this point. He is bored and wants to watch children die in various ways
He-
to entertain himself.
He studied the kids that got the tickets.
Yes.
Just, what's the best way to pick these kids
This
off?
round one, he's going to enjoy dumping into the chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh,
He'll
that's
he'll take that bait.
That's
Yeah.
why that's why they showed all of the footage of these kids on TV getting their golden tickets. Just like how these kids are. Oh my god.
This really bratty one really can't resist eating this poison candy because we told her that it's the first one in the world.
So what are we watching next week, fellas?
Fuck.
What's the
We're back at
list?
So-
Dinosaur Story, honestly.
Yes. Well, also, here, where's my list?
It is truly a travesty that you haven't been required to watch We're Back at Dinosaur Story in film school.
Well,
And
yeah,
a
this is
college
Yeah.
why I'm trying to blah 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 blah.
We're
This is why I would like to be a film professor.
back.
I want to teach the college children about trash. I'm gonna walk in and I'm gonna be like, I know y'all all like Pulp I'm
Yeah, you're wrong.
gonna beat that out of you.
This is Neil Breen. He's come to talk to our class today.
As a personal favor, I worked on one of his sets. God, my dream.
I'm also trying to find the list.
I got it.
I found it too.
We did Godzilla, we did The Birds, and Sunset Boulevard and Psycho. A lot of these are Hitchcock movies. I'm trying to space those out.
I think... Well, you picked the last one.
No, he did.
Yeah, I said The Birds.
I thought you picked The Birds.
Mm-mm.
Oh. Well,
So I think it's my turn to pick?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't recall. But, I kind of want to watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Good choice.
Yeah, I love Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Alright, so next week, we're going to watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
And I am very sorry to everyone who listened to this episode.
I'm also sorry.
I'm not sorry.
There were a couple tangents.
We've enlightened the masses.
I really like that dumb movie.
I think Brianna could possibly cobble something together in post.
I can. I have 46 minutes of greatness here.
And only 5 of them are any good.
Yeah,
I'm not editing out anything except the clap markers.
Yeah, you've got about 30 minutes of me talking about We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also, I insist on using the full name of that movie every time I mention it.
What movie are we talking about? We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Yeah.
Which one? We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Yeah, roll back the clock.
You see, the best scene in We're Back, a Dinosaur Story
is also when Professor Scruggs gets his eyes pecked out by crows.
God.
It's my favorite scene in The Birds.
Oh yeah, no, a fellow in The Birds gets his eyes packed out off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. God, a
forgot.
lot of shit happens in The Birds.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah, and we could have talked about it.
Nah.
And unfortunately, we stumbled onto one of my special interests. 90s movies about being friends with dinosaurs.
I mean, to be fair, I think we covered most of the bases.
I think.
90% of it was a bit.
I mean, we didn't even talk about how it's, like, clearly a metaphor for environmentalism, but that's fucking... It's not time for that
They
anymore.
talk about that in Birdemic. Yeah, guys, watch Birdemic
Don't
instead
watch
of The Birds.
Birdemic.
Watch Birdemic
Watch
instead of The Birds.
Birdemic.
There's a really cool scene where they're all dancing, and all the sex scenes are very tasteful because they're wearing beachwear. And they fight birds with coat hangers. So, yeah, go watch Birdemic and Birdemic 2. Last I checked, they were still on YouTube.
Okay.
And
I've never seen Birdemic.
It's on YouTube, you said.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Ah,
Yeah, Birdemic. Check it out.
That's our recommendation for this week.
That's the thing we do.
Yeah. Alright, so next week's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Sorry.